Hey everybody, this is where I would normally say that I have parts to make, and while we are going to make parts today, they are not going to be customer parts. I started my journey into machining with a business that made products. We mostly focused on the kind of stuff that you would carry in your pocket, what we would call EDC type things, such as this carabiner. This was one of our big sellers. We made and sold a lot of these. That business was a lot of fun, but at that point, I just didn't know enough to make it make sense economically. But I really miss designing and making products. With all the problems that business had, I don't think our product design was ever one of them. I think that was something that we did pretty well. Being a job shop hasn't given me much time for creativity or just general fun in the shop. And today, I think we will change that a little. My plan is to make a screwdriver. But I don't want it to be something that has plastic and something can break. I want this to be an heirloom quality thing that I can pass to my kids and they can pass to their grandkids. To do that, I think the only way we can do it is to make sure that it is easy to repair. On something like this, if the handle goes out or if the tip breaks, then this is done forever. Weira has a good warranty, but this is not going to make it to my grandkids. So my plan is to build it around these standard screwdriver bits. I have just kind of a random assortment of them here. But this 1/4-inch hex is really, really common, and I think these will be around for at least the next 100 years. So if we can make a screwdriver that fits these and doesn't suck, then I think that screwdriver could potentially get handed down to my grandkids. Obviously, there are a lot of screwdrivers that use these, but a lot of them use like the little magnet sockets and they kind of suck. I have a different idea. I am doing something I do a lot when I'm doing this prototyping, and I'm kind of a multitasking or multi-threading as I'm waiting on my printer. So I had the first prototype handle that I made, and it's awful, which makes sense because it's the first prototype it's supposed to be. It was loosely based off of this screwdriver, and I have every screwdriver in my shop, or all the different designs of a handle here with me as I'm doing this prototyping. I already have a slightly better design printing, and as that one's been printing, I've been working on a design for the inside, the guts of this thing that will make it be able to hold and easily exchange one of these. So this is my first mechanism prototype. Right now everything's 3D printed obviously, and we don't have the actual handle design, it's just a cylinder. On the inside here, we'll have a groove that is half a hexagon, and of course there will be another half on the other side. This means I don't have to do any broaching, particularly broaching that's like 4 inches deep. So this way I can machine this all 3-axis with no funkiness. Then there's a bunch of holes here for dowel pins. And these dowel pins will index this thing in at a given depth. So in this case, it's the long one. You could put it all the way down here on the end. Or if we wanted to switch to a shorter one, you could move the pins up here and then throw in your screwdriver head and then put it back together, and now you can use that shorter bit. Or that's the theory anyway. It seems to work, though I think it'll always work best with the longer ones, because the deeper it is in here, the more support you're gonna get, which will mean the less wiggle there's going to be. Now, these tolerances aren't particularly tight because it is 3D printed, but I think this should work. This will obviously mean that there needs to be screws that hold this together, which I don't love, but I think it's pretty much the only way of doing it unless you had some sort of like sliding mechanism, but that doesn't work with the pins. So there will have to be screw holes on the outside. We'll see if we can make those as least ugly as possible, but I think the trade-off for repairability and manufacturability is definitely worth it. So I've been making progress, and I think I'm at the point now where I need to make a metal prototype. This was the first prototype. It was obviously ugly. I knew it was never going to come out well, but it was going to give me an idea of scale, and it did that pretty well, which I then screwed up with the second prototype, which I made way too small. Then I apparently never printed C, but prototype D, I started to like this a lot. It reminded me of an old screwdriver that my grandfather had. The only problem is it was a little bit too big. So I made it smaller again. And then we got this prototype. This might be a better size for some people, but I felt like I overcompensated and I went for this size. This, I think I'm landing on as the final shape, at least before I metal prototype it. I liked this size a lot. It works well for my hand. It worked well for my wife. It worked well for my kids. Now, if you see that little faceting there, that is actually an intended design feature. That's not a 3D printing artifact. I figured that would help both provide some extra grip, and then also, since I'm making these out of a shiny metal, I think it'll look really pretty when you move it in the light like this. This is the last one I did that does not have a mechanism on the inside. And then I printed this one. Excuse the shorter stick. I only have one of those longer ones right now. So this one, I did make the facets a little bit bigger to make them look more intentional. And it does give a little bit more grip. I'm very happy with how that feels in the hand. And I do have my mechanism. The one thing I'm not sold on this design yet is those screw holes. I don't really like how they break up the cleaner appearance of the screwdriver itself, and it makes it feel like an injection molded part or something like that. So we will see what it looks like when I actually machine one out of steel, but I don't love it. It's a new, rather snowy day out. I spent the rest of yesterday figuring out and finishing the cam, and now we get to actually make the parts. I definitely thought that this was going to be a one-day project. I now realize how optimistic that was. Except for a thread mill and a single drill, all the tools were from my standard library, so those are already set and ready to go. And I think we just need to make the part now. I so rarely get to run aluminum in this machine. It's a fish. Don't worry, I was hiding behind the door with safety glasses on when I was doing that shot through the door. That last one was a 1/2 inch end mill, now we're on to a 3/16. And I think we're mostly boring those holes. Now we're on to an 1/8 inch flat to clear out that slot. There might have been a more efficient way to program this. It doesn't come across on camera, but this machine is going to town with those little adaptive spirals. You can kind of see it in the reflection on the door. That's better. Now we're going to finish the floor of that little slot. And these are the dowel pin holes. There was a couple places where I was using wear compensation, and I definitely forgot to check that those were set right in the controller, but hopefully they are. On to a 1/16 for the threaded holes. Or not. Looks like we're going to do a little bit more roughing in that slot first. Now we're deburring with that same ball nose. And now thread milling. And we're done. Part looks decent. Everything's deburred. Let's check our smaller dowels. I could force that in, but I think it's a little bit smaller than it should be. So I'll walk that out. What about our bigger? Yeah, again, just a tad tight. I could push it, but I want this to be removable. Eeh. I've apparently never made a 440 thread on a customer part, so I don't have a thread gauge. But at least the hole passes a screw test. Yeah, that's great. It's really not surprising that neither of my pins fit, because I didn't actually design it to fit. For both of those pins, the holes were machined right at nominal. So if it was an 8mm pin, I programmed it as an 8mm hole. Same thing with the 3/16 inch pin. Mills traditionally machine a little bit undersized unless you compensate for the diameter of the tool, and in this case we did not do that. But even if the hole is dead nominal as programmed, the hole would still be a little bit undersized. If you want a locational sliding fit, which we do in this case, you want the hole to be just slightly bigger than the pin. So I'm going to adjust the cam to open up those holes by 3/10, and we'll see if it fits from there. All right, that fits a lot better. It's a little bit tight at the bottom, I think, but otherwise slides in there nice with no wiggle. So I think this one's done. Now it's time to make the other side of this. You guys have already seen all of the machining, so let's just do it in a snap. Wow, that was easy. I don't have the bigger 8mm dowel pins in yet. I just have this piece of stock that's actually from my old 3D printer. But we should still be able to do a test fit without that. It's a little bit tight. There we have it. It does at least fit together. I think the hex in here is too loose, so I'm gonna shrink the size of my gap there. Yeah, see that wiggle? I don't want it to wiggle that much, but it does at least kind of work, and I think I need to loosen up maybe the dowel holes on one side. I'll make them a tighter press fit on one side and then loose on the other so they go together easier. You can see some of the machining improvements on the side there. On this side here, I fixed the smoothing settings on the machine before running the parts, and on this side I did not. So that's roughing mode, this is smoothing mode, and you can see there's quite a bit of a aesthetic improvement. Speeds and feeds were exactly the same. The only thing that changed was the smoothing mode, so that's definitely something I need to pay more attention to going forwards. I just had a revelation. I just realized that I have a superpower. Before, when I was doing Kickstarters, all of the fun was in the product design, but like the actual manufacturing and fulfillment became kind of a slog. But now, thanks to Subtract, I've got like 10 of the best machine shops in the country that I can send the slog to. So what if instead of this being a silly little one-off project, we do another Kickstarter?